I review a lot of tech. I'm a fan of it, I enjoy seeing what companies can produce, and more than anything, I love to get hands-on and to make videos about it. Despite of all this, it's really easy to become disillusioned with it sometimes. Another new phone, another new feature, another software update, and so on. So it's really rare when a product comes along that absolutely floors you in its execution and function. And for me, the Fujifilm X100V has been that very rare, unique item. Just a quick heads up before we get started, I did reach out to Fuji for this demo unit and they were kind enough to lend it to me for 2 weeks, but they haven't pre-screened this video or the script, so they're seeing it at the same time as you are. Let's get back to it. I'd be lying if I said a lot of the appeal doesn't come from the look of the X100V, because it really does. The retro styling is categorically beautiful. From the dials to the aperture ring down to the classy silver and black paint job, it emanates quality from every angle and oozes that vintage rangefinder look, and I just can't help but love it. Obviously there's more to the look though. The dials and buttons are here for direct control over the camera, and you can bind pretty much any function to the variety of buttons and switches at your disposal. Personally, I've just been using the dials and the joystick for control, and I've really enjoyed having that tactile feel again with a camera. There's some big changes since 2017's X100F too. They've removed the directional buttons on the side in favour of a touchscreen system, which has been fine for me but will be divisive for some. The ISO dial now clicks up and down when you want to change the settings, and the screen can now flip up for better waste-fire shooting as well. I've heard some people aren't a fan of that, but I found it really useful. The biggest and most welcome update though came from the second version of the 23mm f2 fixed lens. Everyone can appreciate this. It's much sharper wide open at f2 than previous generations, which had a bit of a reputation for being a little soft. The most unique feature of the X100 range is still here in the X100V2, and that's the viewfinder. It seamlessly switches between an optical viewfinder and a digital one at the flick of a switch. If you haven't used this before, it's really cool and possibly the biggest throwback to that rangefinder heritage. And if you're a fan of optical over digital viewfinders, then you'll feel right at home here. Despite it being a really nice feature, and I really appreciate that they put it in here, I actually ended up just using the high quality digital viewfinder more often because that's what I'm used to, but I'm sure a lot of people out there will find the opposite. Overall, the design is largely familiar, but Fuji have tweaked and finessed this camera into a wonderful piece of technology that is an utter joy to use. Sadly, due to our current COVID climate, I haven't been able to shoot as much as I would have liked, but what I can tell you is that images from the X100V are gorgeous. It's using the same 26 megapixel sensor as the X-T30, X-T3, X Pro 3 and X-T4 cameras, and if you've used any of those, then the images will feel instantly recognisable. They're sharp, detailed and full of character. Fuji's film simulation modes are still alive and kicking too, and they're all super nice, but I've defaulted myself down to the classic chrome look, which has been the most pleasing to my eye. As ever, this will come down to personal preference, but I can confirm none of them feel like a gimmick. I must admit as well, I haven't felt the need to shoot in RAW either. The JPEG performance from this camera is excellent. There's also a built-in 4-stop ND filter, which is a great addition if you're in much brighter situations, or if you're topping out at the 1/4000th of a second shutter speed, or you're just looking for those slower shutter speed effects. So here's something else I've noticed while having the X100V in the house too. It's when I go to pick up my Sony a7 III, I'm immediately in that work frame of mind, like have I got the right lens? Have I really understood this client's creative brief, and am I really getting the best shot possible? Yet when I go to pick this one up and start taking photos of it, I'm immediately reminded of why I got into photography and videography in the first place, because it's fun. It reminded me fully of those initial experiences of picking up a camera for the first time and just enjoying the process of taking pictures without really debating the outcome. And I think it's really good to have that reminder sometimes. I think a lot of that just comes down to the placebo effect of the retro cool stylings and the fact that it's a new camera in the house, but it's really made me appreciate taking photos again, and that's really powerful. While the X100V is clearly not built as a videoing machine, it's actually really capable. It can shoot superbly detailed 4K, you can make use of F-Log recording too, and my personal favourite feature, the Eterna film profile, is here. I was actually so impressed by how good the quality was, I ended up recording an entire video with the X100V, which I will link below. It doesn't stop with the video goodness there either. If you connect an external recorder, you can record in 10-bit. Eye tracking autofocus in video works really quite well, and with an adapter you can add a microphone in too. Not bad for a very photo-focused camera. Of course, it's not perfect. It's got a recording limit of 10 minutes in 4K, and by that time it's almost ready to overheat, which mine did on more than one occasion. And the built-in ND filter doesn't work in video, which I really hope they can change because it would be so useful. Despite this, it can still take amazing video, and it's an incredible feature to have built in here. To round off this review, I think it's fair to say that if you're in the boat of I can get a decent body and 2 decent lenses for the same price as this, which you can, then it's probably just fair to say that this camera really isn't made for you, and it's not trying to disguise itself as a do-it-all camera. This is a premium compact camera for enthusiasts, and even though it doesn't do everything that I would like it to do, it hasn't actually stopped it from becoming my favourite piece of technology so far in 2020. And that pretty much rounds off the review. If you enjoyed it, do pop a like and hit the subscribe button on the way out, that helps me a lot. And if you're thinking of picking up a Fuji, then do let me know which one in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.